Good morning, it's Mary Ellen from the channel Mary Ellen After 60, and I'm here today to do a tag video. I was tagged by Marcy Smith sometime in December to do a video on my most embarrassing moments, and I have really had to think about this because most of them that I've had that have been embarrassing, I don't really think I need to tell on YouTube. So if you don't know Marcy Smith, Marcy and I have been watching each other probably since the very beginning. And she does a lot of different types of videos. She's one person you can count on that will get the target box up before anybody else, because anytime I've ever wanted to order one, I've done it from her little message. She is into crafts and pocket letters, and she just makes a lot of good sense. So thank you, Marcy, for tagging me, and I appreciate it. Okay, here's some of my most embarrassing moments. I started working full-time at a local bank when I was 17, and I learned a lot in my days of being a bank teller. And I did work up to being a paying and receiving teller, which means I could do notes and figure the interest. Well, I've got to set up the scenario. Right next to me in the teller line was a guy. His name was Jim, and he worked summers. He was in college. He was like an older guy, you know. He was probably 6 years older than I was, and just a real nice guy. Anyway, I was working one day, and this little lady came up to she was probably my age. She came up to my window, and Jim was sitting on one side of me, and somebody was on the other. So after I asked her how I could help her, she said to me, she said, "You know what, honey, I would really like to join the Christmas club." And I said, okay. And she said, "But I don't know if I can attend all the meetings." Well, at that time, Jim had just taken a sip of his Coke. He spewed it all out in the lobby. He was laughing so hard that it was almost impossible to compose myself, but I managed to. But I was absolutely embarrassed, and the little lady didn't know what she had done, but I did explain it to her. But it was very embarrassing. Another incident when I was 16 that is G-rated. The first car I learned to drive on was a clutch. And my poor brother-in-law and my father taught me the best they could on how to drive a clutch. Well, I was in a neighboring city, and it was really cool to go around. There was a certain area that you rode around one way, and then you turned around and rode around the other way. Well, we had seen some guys heading one way, so we hurried and turned around to go the opposite way so we could meet them. Well, there's this hill, and it's right as you get into the square, and I mean, it is a steep hill. Lo and behold, I was stuck on that hill, and I did not know what to do. I knew there were cars behind me. I knew that if I tried to use my clutch, I would hit the cars behind me. So anyway, I opened up my door. I put on the parking brake. I opened up my door, and I motioned for everybody to move back. And the cute guys went by, and there I looked like a fool. That was a very embarrassing moment. And my last one I'm going to talk about, it was painful and embarrassing. I have shrubs out in my front yard, and one day I was on a ladder, and you know those long wooden handled pruners? I think that's what they're called. Well, I was going in there, I was up on the ladder, and I was trying to trim them, and of course, you know, the little clip on it's just like that. It's not very big. Anyway, I put all the force in the world to get this branch. It was really too thick, and when I did, they went like this, and with all this force, they hit my ear. And if that wasn't bad enough, my sister lived really closely, and she was walking across the street, and when she saw me, I was kind of weeping. And she said, "What in the world happened?" And I was trying to tell her. And anyway, I did it again, and I re-injured my ears. I was trying to demonstrate it, and I was so embarrassed. I don't know if any of you ever have heard of cool Danas, but if you haven't, I will try to find one and link it below, but it's this ice pack that is flexible, and you stick it in this fabric. You keep it in the freezer. Well, I had put the cool down around my head and tied it because my ears were so swollen and bruised. And so when my brother-in-law came over, there I was with the cool down wrapped around my ears and these throbbing, swollen ears. And so I was embarrassed again. So Marcy, those were some of my G-rated embarrassing moments, and I really want to thank you for tagging me. I'm not going to tag anybody else. For about a year and a half, I tagged everybody that I watched and wrote it down, so I made sure that I mentioned everybody, but I am not going to do that anymore. I have come to realize that it hurts some people's feelings, and I don't want to do that. If you want to do this tag, I tag you, and I would love to hear your embarrassing moments that you can share on YouTube. It is all good. You guys have a great day. Jim and I are getting ready to go have lunch at a mom and dad restaurant that's not far from here, and I'm pretty excited because I don't know what I'm going to have. So I'm just anticipating that.